Welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson. Of course, on our show, we discuss so many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and what we know as an aging population today, and in the future. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and again, thanks for all your support. So many of you have gone on to iTunes, iHeartRadio, our website, but probably one of the easiest ways to keep up on all of our shows and interviews with our experts is just download the free app. If you have an iPhone, Android phone, just go into apps, type in the Aging Boomers, and you can get updated on all the shows. So again, thank you for all your support. I want to remind everybody that today's show is sponsored by Senior Care Authority, a professional senior placement and elder care management organization that has a national network of advisors to help in determining the right path for senior living and receiving proper care. So whether it's in-home care, assisted living, residential, or memory care, get the necessary advice from a senior care advisor in your area by calling Senior Care Authority at 888-809-1231, or you could go directly to the website at www.seniorcareauthority.com. Interesting subject matter we're going to be talking about today. I want to introduce Gloria Bernard. Gloria has been designing residential and commercial interiors for over 35 years. She brings her expertise, style, and passion to support aging with dignity. Gloria is also a college instructor for interior design. This keeps her current with today's trends, technology, and social issues that affect seniors. So, Gloria, thank you so much for joining us on the Aging Boomers.
Well, thanks, Frank. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so tell me how you got into this. You've been in interior design for 35 years. How did you end up kind of specializing in really kind of the needs of seniors and boomers?
Well, number one, I am a boomer myself, and as a professional designer, I've been designing homes for boomers, and so I understand their lifestyle, and that's really been my job for the last 35 years.
Okay, and so, you know, on our show, we talk on so many different subject matters, you know, and as you and I kind of talked before we came on the air, you know, if you ask people, would they want to live at home the rest of their life? You know, there's all sorts of studies, but I'd be pretty surprised to hear that somebody wouldn't. I mean, everybody wants to. Okay,
right.
The question is if they're going to be able to, for a lot of different reasons. Hopefully, they're able to, but sometimes things happen from a health standpoint, physical, cognitively, etc., and they can't. But for those that, you know, would like to, what do you see as kind of the trend? What's going on with that?
Well, actually, boomers in a way are unique because they're a generation known for breaking traditions. So they don't have the same mindset as their parents. And, you know, now that there's thousands entering the retirement age, you know, these boomers are still healthy and active, and they're going to live longer. So I think that what they're demanding is something different, more options, really to control and remain independent.
And give us some examples, if you can.
Okay. In other words, really a boomer wants a modern, aesthetic, personal environment. So they would like to stay in their home. They, you know, want to stay in the neighborhood where they know people, they know where the local gym is that they go to, and shopping, etc. So their entire environment, it really needs to be designed for what they're demanding. So I, as a designer, just think that they have to, really we have to sit down, look at the options, maybe do a comparison chart between do I go to a community? What will it cost? What actually modifying my house, what will that cost? What is my option? And even if I do decide to stay in my house, what are these modifications going to cost? So just putting it into a comprehensive plan really is the first step.
So if they're going to, somebody wanted to stay home and they wanted to stay in their own home, but maybe it wasn't, when the house was built, it really wasn't set up for someone who's aging and may have, certain issues going on. What are some of the areas that you feel are most important to concentrate on as far as any changes to the home structurally, or just maybe things that are even less expensive?
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
It can, it can be structural if you're perhaps have a 3 or 4 bedroom home, you're using 1 bedroom. Maybe an answer would be to create a small apartment that would also create an income, or perhaps for a future caretaker to live in. Some modifications are really small, and that would be, maybe the thresholds, making them all level in the house, having reachable shelves in the kitchen, and important products. There's really many beautiful products today that are for seniors, basically, like resilient flooring, just taking up the carpeting and putting resilient flooring down. And, of course, lighting is a big factor because the eyesight, diminishes as you get older. So adding motion sensor lights, LED lights near the floor where they walk, having the correct color combination. You should have contrast between the walls and the floor so that they really could see the floor better. And so they also have balance problems. But I think what it is, too, is that there's so many of these boomers retiring that are, again, still healthy. So you want a plan that's maybe few modifications you need now. What can you do in 5 years? What can you do in 10 years, as you age? So what I try to do is give them a plan that works for them and is personalized and is, again, a comprehensive of what their needs are going to be.
So have you found people open to making changes and investing some money in what their, like you just said, what their needs may be? Or do they wait till it happens and then they've got to, make changes in order for them to live in their home? I mean, do people really plan like that?
Well, not most of them. A lot of times you may have a fall and, you didn't have a need, and then all of a sudden, within days you have a need. So that usually precipitates doing some modification. But it also precipitates coming up with a plan because they realize that, this may happen again or they have to prepare for this. So I guess what I'm trying to do is to educate the boomers to think about if they want to stay at home or what are the options that they have. And they're not difficult. It's really when you sit down and you talk to them and you sort of analyze their lifestyle, and again, I pretty much know what that is, then they become really excited about that they do have a plan and they feel comfortable that they can stay in their home.
What are, some of the more popular featured, either design features or changes that you've made for people in these situations? I could think of one example. I know that I happen to be, my wife and I are in a home that's up and down, colonial as we call it.
Right.
There's no bedroom downstairs. I had my father-in-law staying with us, and he has some health challenges, and certainly we got him up and down the stairs, but I'm thinking that would not be a long-term solution. So what are some things like that you've done for people to help in their environment?
Yeah, well, definitely if you have a two-story home, adding a bedroom and a bathroom downstairs is a good option. I do want to say that this does not really affect the value of your home. If anything, it increases the value of your home. I think the question I get asked most is, well, if I make these modifications, is that going to mean that I'm going to have a hard time selling my home? Actually, it doesn't. It adds to the value of your home if you do it right. And also, you don't want it to look like, a facility. So, again, there's so many beautiful products. You have grab bars that are beautiful. They light up. Again, your flooring, kitchen cabinets instead of upper cabinets, having pantries where you have pull-out shelves, adjustable height counters, both in the kitchen and in the bathroom. So there are a lot of these things that really are not specifically aesthetically looking like for senior homes.
Mm-hmm. Right. When you go in, when somebody brings you in as a designer and a consultant, what are the things you look at throughout their home from a safety perspective, where you say, hey, you should consider these particular changes? Let's emphasize the safety side of things.
Well, first you're going to look at the obvious, the floors. Are there steps? Are there, different heights? Are there thresholds that are level so that if they eventually use a walker or a wheelchair, that would be accessible? Even the material themselves, again, carpeting as opposed to a resilient flooring. I don't recommend any hard surfaces like tile floor. Because, again, they do fall, they do drop things more because of maybe arthritis in their hands. So choosing the right material is just as important as what you do. Again, I don't really like it to look like an ADA facility, but having open space that is flexible is probably the most important thing. Sometimes it means opening up a wall or two rooms into one. But this is, again, done in a way that adds to the aesthetic of the house, not taking away from it. So adding natural light is another big factor for me, because the circadian rhythm of older people is important. Really, just to see the outdoors, to have access to the outdoors is important as well. So, if someone needs really 24-hour care, I think you're right. It's a different facility. I'm sort of focusing on the ones that are still active, and that they want to do the modifications now, so that they're not going to wait until it really becomes a problem.
So what have you seen, Gloria, with developers, builders that are building homes today? Are you seeing a difference on the types of homes they're building? And if so, what changes are you seeing that are gearing more towards, the aging population?
Well, I think the number one thing that I see is that they think the baby boomers want the traditional cottage look, that, this is in some way a healthful, happy outlook. That was fine for our parents, but again, baby boomers are more of the modern ilk, and so they don't want it to look like a little cottage. They want it to be, again, open space, really a lot of natural light. And I think the developers are missing of what they want in terms of style. And every time I go into these communities, I again, I find kitchen cabinets with upper cabinets, and as we know, as you get older, you shrink. So, a woman barely reaches the first shelf of the cabinet. Mm-hmm. I see, things like this that the developers aren't doing. And what I think is so sad is that there's so many gorgeous kitchens available that don't have upper cabinets. It's not that they're not available. They are available. And if you look at any modern interior, you'll see that there's mostly floor-to-ceiling cabinets like a pantry that have pull-out shelves.
Yeah.
In a way, these are even less money to build these kitchens. So developers, they want that 5-foot radius in the kitchen. So they do a regular kitchen, but they put a counter. They put grab bars that, look industrial rather than beautiful. Rails in hallways that, again, look like a facility and not a home.
Are you seeing more, as far from the development side, more up and down homes, or more ranch style?
They're more ranch style, but depending on the type of construction and the foundation, I think that even they're having 1 or 2 steps to get up to the entrance, and so I sort of have designed a way to incorporate a ramp that's in the landscaping so that you can get to the front door eventually without having one of these, again, really terrible, obvious-looking ramps in the house. So, I think that the open space is the number one thing that the developers are missing. They're still doing rooms. They're still doing closets that really are not functional for an older person. They just haven't addressed the interior design as much as they should have.
Do you think they're just not thinking it through, or just trying to make the homes more cookie cutter and inexpensive as possible?
Well, I think it's because a couple of things. They've been building homes that way for, the last 75 years, and they just keep building them that way. The same kitchens, they have, kitchen installers, they install the same kitchen, or the same thing with closets. Again, I've gone into these homes where there's 6 or 7 doors. And of course they put in 36-inch doors because that's an ADA requirement, or 32 to 36. And there's just a lot of wasted space on doors. So my design is, let's eliminate some of these doors, especially if there's only maybe a husband and wife living in the house, not children and like they used to be.
Have you gotten involved where maybe the parents are going to go live with the kids? They've all agreed to do that, but maybe another unit, or I guess we call it maybe a granny unit, which maybe a lot of boomers probably don't like that name anymore, but do you do some of that as well? And if so, what trend do you see there?
Well, there is a big trend there, and I think maybe it was even helped along by the tiny house movement that we've seen. Yes, really, if the parents own a house and they have enough property, and they're going to leave the house to the children, my suggestion is let the children move in the house now, and build a 4 to 6 square foot cottage, basically, in the back. And I've done this, and I do it by as much open space as possible so that it is flexible. I do it so it doesn't look like a granny unit. And it adds value to them. The children are close, but it's still private. So, again, this privacy, baby boomers don't want to live with their children. And so they want to be independent. So it still allows you to be independent, but having the children close by.
Right. No, that's great. I know I've had people on the show where they build these. I don't know if you call them prefab or what you call them. These.
Right.
What are your thoughts on on some of those units?
I've looked at so many of those, and what I see is, again, they don't have enough open space. In the bathrooms, really, they don't, especially if they're talking 500 or 600 square feet. They don't have enough room in the bathrooms. They don't have storage that's accessible. They put in closets. It's really how to design the space to be functional and look beautiful. And so I have designed a senior cottage that, I'm working with some other architects, and there's wonderful prefabricated in terms of construction techniques that make it affordable as well. I've seen, these granny cottages, and they're $150,000, and for 500 square feet.
Yeah.
So we're really trying to make it affordable and beautiful. And when they move out now, you want it to look like a really great modern place that maybe your son or daughter that's coming back from college can live there. So you don't want, again, to look like grab bars and things. So flexible is really the most important feature.
Yeah, so tell us, Gloria, I haven't even asked you yet, but how people could get in touch with you. And I know you're based in California, and, we have listeners all over. So are you able to service people outside of your area in Northern California? And if so, great. Share with them the information. If not, maybe you could give some advice how they could find someone like yourself in their particular market.
Yes, I have a website, gloriabernard.com, and I do service Northern California. And actually, if you're in another part of the country, you can contact me. I know designers, and then there's professional design organizations like ASID and IIDA that also is a resource for designers that specialize in seniors. So I, again, have different programs, analysis, comprehensive analysis, and the first consultation that I have with the client. Of course, there's no charge for that, just to know that they get to know who I am and what I do, and I get to know something about them. So I have all this information on my website, and some information also about the senior cottage that I designed.
That's great. Again, that's Gloria Bernard, Bernard, design, right? Is that right?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The website is gloriabernard.com.
gloriabernard.com. Okay, I had your email address. That's right. gloriabernarddesign@gmail.com. If you want to email her. Okay, great. We just have a couple minutes left, but I'd love to hear more about your instruction at your college instruction. Tell us a little bit more about that if someone is interested in possibly getting into the field.
Well, right now it's a great field. Every graduate we've had this year has gotten a really good job upon graduation. And I couldn't say that was true, 6-8 years ago. So I do teach interior design, and part of what I teach is about senior facilities and what they need. So it helps keep me really up on what's happening in the field as well. But interior design is really a big field, and a field where you can specialize. You could specialize in, again, seniors and children's facilities. You could specialize in lighting. So it's a great field for really young people to get involved with. And at the Art Institute, it's a 4-year, you end up with a BS degree.
Are you getting different age groups, or mainly a younger group of people, like college age, or are you getting others as well?
Really, college age. I mean, before there was some older people, but I think that they really didn't realize what interior design, the profession of it, that entails. You really learn a lot about construction. You learn a lot about codes. It's not just, the design part of it. It's all the things that you have to know how to run a business. And so I think that the amount of information in the classes that they had to take, drafting and so forth, was a little overwhelming for older people. But, the young college age, they're really excited about it. And like I say, the job opportunities have been wonderful for them.
That's great. Well, Gloria, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Some great information. Everybody check out her site at gloriabernard.com. And again, thanks for joining us on the Aging Boomers, Gloria. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Frank. It was great.
It was great. And I want to thank everybody out there for joining in. Again, share information with friends and family on our site, and check out the free app on your iPhone or Android phone. And just be safe out there, and we'll talk to y'all soon.